Oh, good evening, friends. So we're nearing the winter solstice. It's just darker and darker when we have our class. So I've been doing a Zoom retreat, an online retreat, just finishing it actually for the last week or so. It's a retreat I always attend in person in Santa Fe at the Upaya Zen Center, but it was held via Zoom this year. So as many things are, and here we are. I want to continue today. I want to continue with our exploration of moving into increasingly subtle states of being, and just sort of following the path laid out by the Buddha. Actually reiterated in the Heart Sutra, going through the skandhas, the 5 skandhas, and realizing that each one is not separate from boundlessness. And the point of the realization, then the movement and volition of the realization, is into the dropping away of the 5 skandhas, which are the components of what we take to be the separate self. So those are form, feelings, perceptions, mental formations, and consciousness. And we've been working a lot with of course, with the form, the body, the breath, and so on. Not so much with feelings and perceptions. We've gone into mental formations, and we've really been focusing a lot on consciousness, which is sort of the jumping off point. And the reason for that is because it's so mental that I think it's much more easily approached through the body, because there's much less chance of confusion. So we'll be moving through this and then into awareness. And awareness is the state without an object. So it's just the formless field, and no observer. And it sounds very heady, but when we do this with the body, you'll get it. You'll realize it. So remembering, as we're dropping into our standing posture, and the focus is really on the out breath, elongating the out breath and dropping our attention. You can use your eyes if you like. So in breath, looking up, and then out breath, moving the eyes down. And bringing our attention into what people say is the body, what is actually the sense of touch, which is how we apprehend the body. And so as we're dropping down, we're relaxing. Dropping down is another way of saying relaxing. And as we become increasingly relaxed, maybe starting up with our forehead and relaxing our muscles in our face. And as we move down with the out breath, moving and progressively relaxing the muscles, letting go of the tension in the body. At the same time, with the in-breath, we're coming into this vertical posture. So everything is paired. And so relaxation is paired with uprightness. And we feel this same way that we feel the relaxation. We can feel the spine aligning, and we can feel that the body is upright. And so the more relaxed we get, correspondingly, the more upright we get. So you may begin with standing mountain, or you may begin with standing position 1, where the palms are facing a little. There's a little softness at the elbow. And standing 1 enlivens the hands. There's a little bit of tension in the hands to hold these, hold their position. And the hands are telling us that we're embracing the wholeness, we're embracing the body. And it's taught a lot that in this vertical posture, we're very aware of verticality inside the body and extended down into the earth and up into the universe, the vertical axis or column. And right away, as we drop our eyes down and we're relaxed and upright, as we bring our eyes up, then we're moving toward insight or consciousness. That directionally, that's up. And many of the shamanic traditions, and Taoism being one of them, talks about the lower world, the middle world, and the upper world, or the earth, heaven, and human. And then up, the heaven, or that's the world of the non-form, consciousness, awareness. That's direction is up. Okay, now and tonight, we're going to be moving beyond consciousness. So directionally, we'll go down, we'll go up, come into the middle, that's human, middle world. And then we extend, or with the out breath, we extend our awareness out in all directions. So there's no direction. It's just this field, okay? We've done this many times with breathing the stars. We breathe in from all directions, fill the body. Breathe out in all directions. Okay. Now the vertical axis is still there, and the verticality in the body, the uprightness is still there, and the relaxation, all of this is still present. And now we brought in sort of another dimension, which doesn't have direction, which is in all directions at once. So you just feel and imagine breathing out in all directions from the body. And breathing in from all directions. And just this practice here, this is a thinning of the self. So when we breathe in, the self arises. The body arises, everything here. We breathe out, it all disperses. So letting go. And then we breathe in again. So there's arriving and dispersing. This is the nature of the manifest realm of reality. Everything appears out of nowhere and vanishes back into nowhere. Or you could say appears out of somewhere and vanishes into somewhere. But it's the rhythm of coming and going that we touch into with the breath. Okay. So just to reiterate, so downward is form, and the senses, the body, the earth. We look down. We look up. We're going up to consciousness, down and up. This is all available. And then the next step is all directions. It's down and up. It's not down or up. Okay, so that's the little bridge here with a standing meditation. Okay, now let's go ahead and bow to the directions. Always begin with form. We orient ourselves in the world. North. East. South. West. Back to front. Okay, and now the vertical axis. So above, look up, extend your sense of touch infinitely up. Okay, circling the hands. Eyes follow the hands. And below, okay, and then within. So this is consolidating all of that. And with the next out breath, expand out into the field. Okay, well, let's just begin with, continue, I should say, with Trembling Mountain. And the mountain is the body. The body is the mountain. And it's alive. So This is letting go, releasing, letting go of stress. If you do this before you practice sitting meditation, the mind will already be more clear, and the body will be more relaxed. We're overwhelming the thinking mind with input, sensory input at the feeling level. And with this bouncing, this movement, we're approximating the energetic, vibrating quality of qi that we feel in the body. We're emulating it. We're kind of acting it out. We're not vibrating 40 times a second, but we're definitely vibrating and harmonizing, tuning ourselves to the presence of this life force energy. So aware of the interior, the organs, as well as the skin. You can feel your clothing on the skin, the air, the interior of the body. Okay, now let's increase the intensity here for the last bit. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, stop. We come into awareness of the vertical. And now with the out breath, extending our sense of touch in all directions. And being in touch with the air, the space. And this field extends infinitely out in all directions. Okay, so in the midst of this field, you can check this out. So looking down, internally, down, okay. Here's the body, it's standing here, we're feeling it. We're rooted to the earth, connected to the earth. Moving the eyes up. And here's the heart and the head, and out and up. And here's consciousness, spaciousness, boundlessness. Okay, and so this is always all present. Okay, let's stretch out the body a bit. And say an opening. So with the breath. Can try reversing the breath. Let's just do a couple more. Okay, and flexing the hips. You can really feel into the lower spine and the hips where they contact the tops of the femurs, the ball joints. If you have a little lower back pain, just a little bit, that's okay. But if it's more than a little, then you want to either not do this or do it more subtly. And circling the hips. And so the ancient Taoists taught that the lower dantian, which is here, is the center, the earth connection to the body. And so by keeping this loose, we keep our groundedness, we keep our connection to the earth, we keep our stability, our balance. And so once that's flexible, then we can shift the weight onto one foot. You can open up that gate. If you haven't tried standing one-legged for a little bit of time, I recommend it. Okay. Okay, and now the backwash or the waterfall. So bringing the attention then to the crown of the head. And you can practice using your eyes and turn them, instead of looking outward, turn them inward. And then you can look right into the body and up and just check in with the vertical, and then open the spine. Point to the body. Eyes are looking inside, then out the top, up, all the way up. Eyes are coming down. One, in breath. You see, we're touching the field here. Let's just do one more tree and spring. So down, internal, up, stretch. Okay, and now this is the field. Okay, and extend. Okay, and let's do the backwash again. Okay, and now one more time, backwash. Okay, let's bring the hands up to the heart area. Now, when contemplating the skandhas, this could be form, and then, so in breath, move out, feelings, and then out again, perceptions, and out again, mental formations. This is just what appears in the mind. And then consciousness. And we're pointing outward because we're indicating extends in all directions. Okay. So let's just go into touching heaven, touching earth. So the vertical axis, and you can experiment with the eyes here, if you like, looking up, looking down. Extend. Okay, back to form. And now out, all the way out. This is consciousness. Extend. Come back to form. And now we're going to reverse. So that's form and consciousness, down and up. This is form to consciousness. So that's the whole movement of the skandhas. You don't necessarily even have to know what they all are. It's just the basis of the four foundations is moving from solidity, ice, so to speak, and melting into water and evaporating into vapor, invisible. So it's a movement from the solid, the gross, the separate, into the dispersed, the subtle, and the unified. Okay, so that's the movement. But as you can see in repeating this, one is not better than the other. The path is that we are living this life on the planet, this physical life, that becomes very cluttered with objects. And so the first thing we have to do is to move beyond the objects so that there can be spaciousness, clarity, and ease. But then we come right back, don't we? Then we come right back into form. Because this is how it is. We do have boundaries. We do have a separate body. We do have a separate mind. We have possessions. And at the same time, we are boundless beings. How can that be? Extend. Come back into form. Extend. Back into form. Let's do one more each way. So every bird has two wings. So we have separateness and we have unity. We have form, we have boundlessness. We have in-breath, we have out-breath. This is the eternal yin and yang, which we perfectly embody. Let's go ahead and bring up our stools or cushions or chairs. So one way that my teacher, Kaz Tanahashi, talks about meditation is as moving beyond thought. So just as the body is a form in space, objects of mind, thoughts, emotions, dreams, imagination, are objects in space as well. Objects in the space of the mind. And we sense all of this through our consciousness. All of the sense organs, the skin, the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, all of these sense organs feed into the brain. All the nerve endings feed into the brain. And all the information is electrical impulses. So the awareness of all senses is in the mind. And same with thinking. The mind perceives the objects that arise in the space of the mind. So sitting in meditation, we're aware of the sense of touch. We can feel the body and the breath. Some sense of sight. And if we move our attention to the mind, we are aware of thoughts when they appear. We can feel them, hear them, see them. Maybe a thought will be in words. Maybe it will be in images. Or maybe it will have emotional content and we'll feel it. The thoughts contain all the same information as the sensory realm. But just as there is space around every object, there's space around all of the objects of mind. The mind may be calm and still, and an object of mind appears, thought maybe. It's impermanent, so it vanishes. The mind is clear and still again. So in this meditation, we'll concentrate our attention not on the objects, but on the space in which the objects magically appear. The object of our meditation is consciousness. And you can pendulate between awareness of breath and body, that's perfectly fine. Feelings of the presence of the body will come and go. Feelings of the breath. And that's fine. And then our attention returns to the field with no object. If it's helpful, you can remember the practice of breathing the stars, so extending our attention out in all directions, if you like. If thoughts appear, that's okay. If you would like to envision a clear blue sky, that's okay. All things that arise, whether from the sense doors or from the mind, arise in consciousness. There's no distraction. If it enters through the ears or the body, or if it enters through the thinking, the mind, there's no distraction. It all arises in consciousness. Body arises in consciousness. The senses arise in consciousness. Objects of mind arise in consciousness. Now the next one is to let go of consciousness. We're going to, as the Zen poets say, body and mind drop away. This may happen momentarily, intuitively. Just apply the intention for body and mind to drop away. This extends out infinitely far in all directions. There's no up or down. Consciousness, with all its aspects of body and mind, arises in awareness. It's just a little thing. Anything that arises is okay. It's just arising in consciousness. It's very small. There's a soft or diffuse awareness in the mind and around the body. We're not detached from our senses. They're all present. And in Zen, this is shikantaza, just sitting. Even a moment of enlightenment is no more or less than an ordinary moment. Okay, so let's just come back and notice the space of the mind, objects of mind, the senses, consciousness, this being, this mind, this body, these senses, consciousness. Direct the attention to feeling the body and the breath. Extend the attention out, aware of the environment. And when you're ready, slowly you can wiggle your toes a little bit, move your fingers. Okay, and when we're ready, let's do our closing. And we'll start by clapping one time. 1, 2, 3.